Hello, good morning. How are you today? Welcome to a new class. This is class number 1139. Wow, a lot of classes. All right, I want to finish the expressions on page 175. To be off the hook, the third expression on page 175. If you don't have the books, buy them, come on. You're off the hook. You're off the hook is... quedas libre, estás libre, te libro de cualquier responsabilidad. O sea, te quito del gancho que hay. Okay, hay otros ahí colgados en el gancho. You're off the hook. You're off the hook. A hook, como se dice Capitán Garfio. Captain Hook. Peter Pan and Captain Hook. A hook. And we go fishing, you need bait. Bait, escrito bait, con B, no con V. Bait is cebo. ¿Sí? Cebo, ¿no? Yeah. And then you that's a fishing rod. Si es de los buenos, we say rod, R-O-D, como una vara. A fishing rod. Si es un palo de whatever, it's a fishing pole, a fishing rod. But you need bait, and you need a hook. You need bait. Now you can use worms, lombrices. I mean, you can use worms. I've fished with worms, and I've fished with minnows. Poor minnows, pobrecitos minnows. Bueno, the worms too, okay, the worms. Minnow is a little tiny fish. Put it in. All right, to go fishing. I learned to fish with my grandmother, the doctor's wife. All right. My grandmother, she taught me how to fish. And I fished with her a lot. I went fishing with my grandmother. My grandmother was a tough woman. Yeah, she was una mujer que le gustaba la vida caza y la pesca. Yeah, my grandmother. Yeah. My grandfather, no. But it was a strange couple, strange couple. And so I didn't learn how to hunt with my grandmother, I learned how to fish. And then after my grandfather died in 1961, I didn't go fishing anymore, nunca más. Until 1991, yeah, many years later, 30 years later, I went fishing in the Mississippi River. In between Illinois, the state of Illinois and Iowa. The Mississippi River is 2 kilometers wide. And I go fishing and I caught catfish, 2 catfish. This is pez gato, 2 catfish going fishing. All right, so the last expression on page 175. Off the top of my head, off the top of your head, off the top of her head. Fuera del tope de mi cabeza, o sea, de la coronilla. Off the top of my head means así de repente, de improviso. A bote pronto, un poco. A bote pronto. Curiosa expresión, a bote pronto. Así de entrada, no se me ocurre. A bote pronto. Off the top of my head. I don't know, off the top, así de repente. No estoy seguro, pero así de repente diría que él tiene 40 años. I'm not sure, but off the top of my head, off, con doble F. Off the top of my head, I'd say he's 40 years old. Así de repente no puedo responder a esa pregunta. Off the top of my head, I cannot answer that question. Creo que lo dije el otro día, aquí, but I give a lot of talks. I give maybe 2 talks per month, all right. Ponencias, charlas, conferencias. And at the end, in many cases, they ask me questions. Yeah, lo dije el otro día, I don't want to repeat. No repito, no. But 2 weeks ago, I gave a talk to a group of children, 10 and 11 years old. 10 and 11 years old. That's the youngest group I have spoken to in my life. So it was different. And I spoke for about 30 minutes. And then the group of 20 kids. And then I opened the session for Q&A. I opened the session for Q&A. Abrí la sesión para Q y A, que es questions and answers. Pregunta y respuesta. Q&A, questions and answers. And I was surprised because the little children, they had a lot of questions. Normally, adolescents, teenagers don't, and adults. A ver, ¿alguien quiere preguntarme algo? No. But the children, yes. And one boy, 11 years old, probably says, ¿te acordaste porque lo dije hace 2 semanas? Are you rich? ¿Es usted rico? I said, are you rich? And he caught me off guard. Me pilló, how do you say, desprevenido, off guard, fuera de guardia. Que no estaba en guardia para decir. Off, con doble F, off guard means desprevenido. You didn't expect. He caught me off guard. Yes. But off the top of my head, it occurred to me to ask him. I said, are you rich? And the little boy said, no. And then I said, are you happy? He said, yes. I said, then you're rich. Si eres feliz, eres rico. Hay que definir la palabra riqueza. ¿Qué significa rico? Does it really mean money only? Not necessarily. So I said to him, if you're happy, you're rich. That's the only important thing in life, is to be happy. It's the only important thing. There's no other consideration about what's the best situation in life. The best situation, the best potential situation in life is not rich, it's happy. And if you're happy, if you're truly happy, felicidad genuina, if you're truly happy, genuinely happy, then you're rich. So the answer came off the top of my head. Off the top of my head, thank God I was able to answer his question. Yes, about being rich. Okay, McKay. Okay, my friends, we have finished another page of expressions. Let's continue with gain fluency. What page? I don't know. Page 92. At the bottom? No. At the top? Yes. Yes, at the top. Not at the bottom, nor in the middle, but at the top. Page 92, paragraph 841. Does it make sense to you? It doesn't make any sense to me either. We've never had to justify every decision we make. Now we have to justify even the most minor decisions. Okay, this is a conversation. I'm asking a person, ¿tiene sentido para ti? ¿Esto? Does it make sense to you? Does it make sense to you? Pues a mí tampoco. It doesn't make any sense to me either. Does it make sense to you? No. Well, it doesn't make sense to me either. It doesn't make any sense. El any es opcional. It doesn't make any sense to me either. Yes. We've never had to justify every decision we make. We've never had to justify. We have never. Nunca hemos tenido que. We've never had to justify every decision we make. Now, we have to justify even the most minor decisions. Incluso las decisiones más menores, o sea, más pequeñas. Apparently, probably, these two people work in a company, and now there's a new boss. Ahora está el Trump. Y se hace sentir. Now there's a new boss. Before, with the old boss, we never had to justify every decision. You know, the old boss delegated decision-making to me and to him. Now, the new boss doesn't delegate. The new boss wants to know and wants justification for every decision. Wow. Okay. Does it make sense to you? Y no tiene sentido este cambio. Ni a ti, ni a mí. Does it make sense to you? It doesn't make any sense to me either. Does it make sense to you? It doesn't make any sense to me either. Fijaos. En inglés no, las cosas no tienen sentido. Hacen sentido. O sea, no me hace nada de sentido. It doesn't make any sense to me either. We've never had to justify. Justify. Justificar. Justify. Justify. We've never had to justify every decision we make. Y las decisiones en inglés no suelen tomarse, se hacen. Aunque es correcto decir to take a decision. But normally we say to make. In the United Kingdom, it's 50-50. Take and make. In the United States, make. All right, to make a decision. We've never had to justify every decision we make. Now we have to justify even the most minor, menor, minor decisions, minor. La fonética, la pronunciación de minor, puede ser dos cosas, menores. Bueno, puede ser un menor de edad. Under 18 is a minor. Yes, Tribunal para Menores, el Tribunal de Menores, the minor court for minors. But minor es un asunto menor. It's a minor matter, don't worry. Y luego el sonido suena igual que minero, que es miner, no minor. Sin embargo, la pronunciación es igual. Minor. Yeah. Mineros menores, son mineros menores. They are minors. All right, minor. But in any case, does it make sense to you? It doesn't make any sense to me either. We've never had to justify every decision we make. Now we have to justify even the most minor decisions. Okay. Page 92, the second paragraph. You don't need to check if Brandon's asleep. Voy a comprobar si Brandon está dormido. No hace falta. You don't need to go to his bedroom. You don't need to look. No. You don't need to check if Brandon is asleep. All you have to do is walk into the hall. Caminar al pasillo. Is walk into the hall. He snores so loud that the walls vibrate. Yeah. If the hall is quiet, it means he's awake. O sea, con ir solamente al pasillo, si el pasillo está en silencio, no está dormido. Because everything is vibrating. Yeah. He snores. Yes. You don't need to check if Brandon is asleep. You don't need to check. To check is verificar, comprobar. Chequear, chequear. You don't need to check if Brandon is asleep. To be asleep, to be awake. To be asleep, to be awake. Right now, I'm awake, I think. Are you awake? Marta's awake too. Are you awake? Am I putting you to sleep? Te estoy durmiendo con esta clase. Am I putting you to sleep? I'm awake. She's awake. Are you awake? I'm not asleep. Pero you don't need to check if Brandon is asleep. All you have to do, en español diríais, lo único que tienes que hacer. En español, en inglés, todo lo que tienes que hacer es. All you have to do. All you have to do is to walk into the hall. The hall is the corridor. Is to walk into the hall. He snores so loud that the walls vibrate. Wow. ¿Vibratan? No, vibran. The walls vibrate. If the hall is quiet, it means he's awake. He's not asleep. Because the moment he falls asleep, yes, the ceiling vibrates. All right. He snores. All right. The third paragraph, page 92, paragraph 843. When I tell, no sé por qué escribí esto. When I tell people I have an eye in the back of my head, they don't believe me. Even when I ask them to take a leap of faith, they still refuse to believe me. What should I do? Yeah. I guess I can show them. Mira, tengo un ojo aquí. I can see people behind me. I have 3 eyes, these 2 and 1 in the back of my head. Do you have an eye in the back of your head? Do you think I know? She says she doesn't have an eye in the back of her head. I have an eye in the back of my head. I can see the buildings behind me. Yeah. And I can see you. So I have an eye in the back of my head. And when I tell people that I have an eye in the back of my head, they don't believe me. Even when I ask them to take a leap of faith, incluso cuando les pido que literalmente tomen un salto de fe, o sea, cuando se dice en inglés to take a leap of faith means arriesgarse con ten fe. Hombre de poca fe, come on. I have an eye in the back of my head. You don't believe me? Come on. Take a leap, escrito layup. Como año bisiesto se dice leap year. Take a leap of faith. Yeah. They still refuse to believe me. Siguen negándose a creerme. Todavía ni se niegan a creerme. They still refuse. Refuse negarse. They still refuse to believe me. ¿Qué hago? En inglés no se puede ¿qué hago? Se dice ¿qué debo hacer? What should I do? ¿Qué debería hacer? What should I do? What should I do? To make people believe that I really have an eye in the back of my head. Yeah. Someday I'll show you. All right. When I tell people that I have an eye, I have an eye. Say laza. An eye, an ear, a finger. Okay. When I tell people that I have an eye in the back of my head, they don't believe me. Even when I ask them to take a leap of faith, they still refuse to believe me. What should I do? Well, show it to them. If you really have an eye in the back of your head, show it to them. Quiero que me creen por fe. Sorry, it's not going to work. Okay, the 4th paragraph, page 92. If I were you, I would stay where you are. The police are busy searching the premises, and I'm sure they'll find the guy. Besides, he's only carrying a .22 caliber pistol. You needn't worry. Huh. All right. Yo que tú me quedaba donde estás. Español es tan... En inglés, si yo fuera tú, me quedaría donde estás. Me quedaría. Pero aquí se dice, yo que tú me quedo donde está. O sea, me quedo donde estoy o donde estás. If I were you, I would stay where you are, where I am. If I were me, I would stay where I am. If I were her, I would stay where she is. If I were him, I would stay where he is. If I were them, I would stay where they are. If I were you, I would stay where you are. Don't move. Yeah. The police are busy searching the premises. The police are busy. Fijaos, police are. La policía están. Siempre pluralizamos police, aunque sea una palabra aparentemente singular. La policía, la policía son. Okay, the police are busy searching. Searching is buscando, registrando el local, the premises. Premise, escrito premise, has 2 meanings, completely different meanings. One meaning is la premisa, una premisa filosófica. Todos los hombres son creados iguales. A partir de eso puedes construir una escuela filosófica. Pero es verdad? Is it true? That's the premise. But the premises, in plural, son the premises. En este local, en todas las oficinas, es the premises. Las premises de Vaughan. the Vaughan premises. Marta and I are on the premises. And the police are searching the premises. Yes. Yes. So I would stay where you are. No te muevas. Policías están por ahí mirando cada aula y cada despacho. Yeah. Besides, I'm sure they'll find the guy. Estoy seguro que encontrarán al tipo que ha entrado con pistola encima. Besides, he's only carrying a .22 caliber pistol. You needn't worry. You don't need to worry, or you needn't worry. No hace falta que te preocupes. Solo es de calibre 22. Well, a .22 pistol is dangerous, of course. It can kill you easily if it enters your heart or your aorta or some, but normally if it's in the arm, in your shoulder, etc., it's not as dangerous as a .38 caliber or a .45, como Harry el Sucio. Big, it's a .45 caliber. .22 caliber is less dangerous, but it can kill you. It can kill you very easily. But in any case, if I were you, esa expresión yo que tú es una expresión súper socorrida y normal. If I were you, I would stay where you are. The police are busy searching. To search is buscar en sentido de registrar. Están registrando cada habitación. Searching. Luces de búsqueda son searchlights. Searchlights. For example, en una prisión tiene las luces. These are searchlights. So, search. The police are busy searching the premises. And I'm sure they'll find the guy. Le encontrarán. I'm sure they'll find the guy. Besides, nada más, es un 22 nada más. Besides, he's only carrying a .22 caliber pistol. You needn't worry. Okay, if you say so. How much time, Marta? Okay, one more. All right, are you ready? Paragraph 845 on page 92. If you're going to ask me questions about geometry, don't bother. I don't even know the difference between a square and a circle. When it comes to mathematics, I'm not a genius. All right. If you're going to ask me questions about geometry, are you an expert on geometry? No? No es experto en geometría. Okay. Geometry. Yeah. If you're going to ask me questions about geometry, don't bother. Don't bother. Ni te molestes. No te molestes. Don't bother. Bother. Pronunciación como padre, father. No molestes a mi padre sería don't bother my father. Don't bother my father. Sin embargo, father es con A y bother es con O. Boter. TH en medio. Bother. Don't bother my father. Okay. Don't bother means ni te molestes. Olvídalo. Ni te molestes. Don't bother. Don't bother. Don't bother. Don't bother. So, if you're going to ask me questions about geometry, don't bother. Yes. I don't even know the difference between a square and a circle. Well, a square has 4 sides, right? Yeah. Each side is equal. 4 equal sides. A square has 4 equal sides. A circle doesn't have any sides. A circle is round. Yeah. So I know the difference. And I think Marta knows the difference between a square and a circle. And a rectangle has 2 sides that are equal and another 2 sides that are equal, but they're not 4 equal sides. A pentagon has 5 equal sides. A hexagon has 6 equal sides. A septagon has 7, and an octagon. Octagonal? An octagon has 8 equal sides. All right. And a circle and a triangle has 3 sides. An equilateral triangle has 3 equal sides. ¿Cómo eran los otros? I can't remember. Equilateral? I can't remember. He said, I've forgotten my geometry. Geometry. Pero ni te molestes, don't bother. If you're going to ask me questions about geometry, don't bother. I don't even know, ni siquiera sé. I don't even know the difference between a square and a circle. When it comes to mathematics, cuando viene a matemática, ¿qué significa eso? When it comes. Cuando se trata de matemática, esta expresión, cuando se trata de mujeres, cuando se trata de verbos irregulares, yo soy el experto. Cuando se trata de micrófonos, nadie sabe más que yo. When it comes to microphones, when it comes to women, when it comes to irregular verbs, when it comes to mathematics, yo no soy un genio. I'm not a genius. Yes. It's true, but I was a good student in mathematics. I didn't like mathematics very much because I really didn't have good math teachers. Los americanos y canadienses, para decir mates, las mates, o sea, acortar palabras, dicen math, M-A-T-H, math, como sendero path. Los británicos ponen ese, maths. See you tomorrow.